What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and today I'm going to show you guys how you can double your hash rate on both AMD and Nvidia GPUs with new miner releases that have just come out over the weekend. Let's get into it right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is myself. I recently launched a crypto mining e-course at sonofatech.com, and it includes 9 steps to cover when you decide to start your crypto mining journey. This is specifically pertaining to 2023 crypto mining profits and taking advantage of the down market to achieve skyrocketing growth as we move into the next halving of Bitcoin. You'll learn buying mining equipment in a bear market, using outside investment to speculative mine, begin mining once profit is established, sell mine crypto to pay for electricity, hold and prep for the bull run, sell at the top of the bull market, sell mining equipment at the top of the bull market, and begin investing in land and power so that you can bring in outside investors to utilize excess resources. Thanks everybody for your support, and I hope you enjoy the course. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Welcome back. So if you guys aren't familiar with Dynex, if you go to hashrate.no, which has become the new standard replacing what to mine for GPU mining profitability specifically. They also do include FPGA, ASIC, and CPU mining calculators on there. But as it pertains to GPUs, if you head on over there, what you'll notice very quickly is that Dynex is one of the top coins to be mined for profitability. It's usually bouncing around between Dynex, Nexa, Radiant, Caspa, and those three, right? But that being said, we do have a new release of miners that does make Dynex even more profitable than hashrate.no calculations, because hashrate.no takes a bit to catch up to the new hash rates. And when you're doubling hash rates due to efficiency improvements in mining software, you are talking about getting a little edge against everybody else the earlier you can implement it into your own environment. Now, of course, I have already implemented it into my own environment, and I can confirm that we have doubled the hash rate. So let's go ahead and talk about the 2 miners that are available that do this. The first one being OneZero Miner. Now, with OneZero Miner, it's pretty new, and it only works with Nvidia GPUs. There are support packages specifically for your Hive OS, and we'll show you guys the configuration that I utilize to do it. However, the downside with OneZero Miner right now is that there is no overclocking capabilities within the miner itself, so you'll have to do it outside of the miner, whether that's through the Hive OS overclocking utility, or you do something like create a zombie fake flight sheet with LOL Miner. Either way, those are a couple ways that you can handle it. Now, we also got yet another SRB multi-miner version update, which is version 2.2.4, which has significantly improved the mining performance on AMD, Intel, and Nvidia. And so for the AMD guys, this one is definitely going to need to be implemented over anything else, and you should do the update. And we'll talk about how I did the update for that on this one in particular as well. So overall, really, we have 2 new miner options, one for Nvidia, one for everything. And the only kind of caveat here is on the Nvidia side, there are some Nvidia GPUs that perform better on SRB Miner and some that perform better on OneZero Miner. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of these cases here in my own farm. And you can see we're running Dynex on everything except for the 5600 XTs down here. And that's just because I'm having a few issues with the actual Hive OS install there. But on the 1660 Supers, we found that there was a significant improvement moving to SRB Miner version 2.2.4. And the reason is unknown to me at this time, but if we take a look at the screenshot here, you can see that on OneZero Miner, we are getting 7.2 kilohash a second at 884 watts. And on SRB Miner, we're getting 11.29 kilohash a second at 901 watts. So we're getting an extra like 3 kilohash a second, and that's for like an additional 100 watts. Moving on to the GTX 1060 rig, we are utilizing SRB Miner version 2.2.4 again, and this one in particular is at 947.8 watts at 6.537 kilohash a second. If we compare that to the OneZ miner, we are doing better by just a hair, right? Only about 0.3 kilohash a second. However, we have dropped power consumption from 1083 watts to 947 watts. So more hash, less power, always going to be good there. And those are 1063 gigs. On the light hash rate 01, we are sitting at 9.982 kilohash a second at 586 watts. And these are going to be RTX 3000 series GPUs. And if we go over to the previous, it was at 10.55 at 686. So we dropped our power consumption by 100 watts. This one really, it depends on your power cost for which miner you're going to utilize. You're a little bit more efficient on the SRB Miner version 2.2.4, but not enough to really make a huge difference. It's kind of tomato as far as I could tell on that one in particular. However, on the RTX 307001, we saved a ton of power on 2.2.4. Right now, it's sitting at 24.8 kilohash a second at 1079 watts, where on OneZero Miner, we were sitting at 25.9 kilohash a second at 1300 watts. So we dropped 300 watts by moving over to the new SRB miner. Now we get into kind of the rigs that were doing better on the 1Z miner, the RTX 307002. And the reason for this was because we have RTX 2080 Ti's in here, and they are performing extremely well on 1Z miner between 3 and 3.5 kilohash a second, depending on the make and model and the power. I have not figured out overclocks for the 2080 Ti at this point, but it is still looking a lot better. The next one was the RTX 3090 rig, which I found to be around 3 kilohash a second on SRB miner version 2.2.4, but 3.529 kilohash a second at 200 watts on 1Z miner. Now, these do have overclocks applied to them via the console or the Hive command line interface, where we just utilize the NV tool to apply the overclocks. So there is a little bit of modification to this, but we applied those same overclocks to the SRB miner as well, and we didn't get as good of results. So 1Z miner for the RTX 3090s appears to be how we want to go about this. Now, it gets more interesting on the AMD side, just comparing 2.2.3 to 2.4, the 5700 rig here, you can see 7.75 kilohash a second at 1063 watts, whereas before it was 5.3 kilohash a second at 1029 watts. And the RX 6000 series is now at 8.148 kilohash a second at 733 watts, whereas before it was only at a measly 3.9 kilohash a second at 623 watts. So major improvements. You are utilizing a little bit more power, but you're doubling your hash rate, right? So for example, we went up like 100 watts on the RX 6000 series rig across the board, but we went up over double the hash rate. So that's obviously going to pay off. Now, if we wanted to update, there's a couple different things that we can do. First off, we'll cover the 1Z miner because it's going to be a little bit simpler here. We're going to go to the flight sheet, and you're going to just create a custom flight sheet, right? So you put your coin as Dynex or DNX, or wallet is DNX Web, the pool, and then just set up the miner config. You'll use a custom miner, which is linked on their GitHub, and I'll leave down below. And you'll put this URL into the custom miner, and then you will set your wallet up and all that as the same. And make sure you don't forget to add the Malab endpoint, as the Malab endpoint will remove those errors for unable to connect to the Malab. So there was some issues over the weekend where the US Malab endpoint for Ecopool went down. That's currently why we're using the NeuroPool Malab endpoint with the Dynex pool config there. So that's really kind of how that all played out as far as over the weekend and why that's created. Now, when we get into SRB Miner, what I prefer to do personally is I prefer to specifically upgrade it with the upgrade script that they provide in the GitHub, which is right here. To do this, it's actually pretty simple. We can copy this out and we can go into one of the rigs that we want to update. Let me pick one that's relatively low hash rate. We'll do this one here. And you're just going to go into your remote access and click Hive Shell Start. Once Hive Shell has started, you can click in and open it up. And we are going to first want to create a new file. So we're going to do v and SRB 224.sh and press enter. In here, you'll press the I key to go into insert mode, and then right click and say paste from browser and paste the script from the GitHub into the little box that pops up. We're going to click OK. Then we're going to press escape button to exit edit mode, type in colon, and then type in WQ for write and quit and press enter. Now the script is ready to go as far as it's all in a file, but we have to make it executable. To do that, we're going to use the command chmod. Then we're going to space and do +X. That means add execution permissions to this file. And then we're going to type in SRB 224.sh and press enter. At this point, you can run an LL command, and what you'll notice is that file actually turns yellow. If it's not yellow, you can't execute it. So now that it's yellow, we can actually just type in the period to say work within this directory / and then the file name as SRB224.sh and press enter. At this point, it will run the script, which is going to basically download the files for 224 and put it into the folder for 223. So while Hive OS will still see it as 2.2.3, the actual miner that's running will be 2.2.4. And to confirm this, you can always run the miner command, and you'll notice that it'll say SRB Miner Multi 2.2.4 once the miner actually starts running, and that's how you can confirm that you have updated. Overall, we did end up having a fantastic day yesterday on Dynex because of the early updates, and it is all reporting in the pool. As far as right now, you can see the current is 94.57 kilohash a second because we had just taken one of the rigs offline. But once we take a look, you can see here, once they're running, we're at 110 kilohash a second. And if we look at the 24-hour average, it's at 111.72 kilohash a second. A quick note about Dynex is I highly recommend you move over to the CLI wallet as quickly as possible because there are a ton of issues with their web wallet because it's pretty much centralized as far as its endpoints go. That being said, it is down right now, so at this time I can't show you how to recover your seeds, but we did cover this in a previous video. I'll leave linked down below. Once the wallet comes back up on Monday, make sure that you get that done, and I will try to do a video to show you guys how to do it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe down below, and I'll see you next Tuesday.